unexpected deaths, heartbreak, and a physical attack. David Spade has been making people laugh for more than 30 years, but his own life is anything but funny. Keep watching to see the tragic side of David Spade. David Spade's brand and passion is comedy. Sarcastic, self-deprecating comedy about human nature and the superficiality of the modern world. To be funny and laugh at the world are hard things to do in the face of death, loss, and grief. But then, maybe that's what fuels Spade. He's endured quick and unexpected losses of family members, friends, and colleagues, a pattern that has, sadly, persisted for decades. According to his memoir, Almost Interesting, Spade was raised in part by a stepfather, a military veteran. Writing in his memoir, Spade had this to say about his stepdad. He had been a doctor during the Vietnam War, so he had post-traumatic stress syndrome. His mental health progressively declined, and according to the New York Times, Spade's father figure killed himself when the future comedian was 15 years old. That one death was the first in a string of losses in Spade's life throughout the years he was in high school and college. Spade said, "People just started going right and left, and I would sit and stare at a wall. I just said, okay, I guess I'll cross my fingers that it doesn't happen to everyone," and more people would go. More than 25 years after starring in the cult classic buddy comedies Tommy Boy and Black Sheep, David Spade is still closely associated with Chris Farley, his on-screen partner, frequent Saturday Night Live co-star, and real-life off-screen close friend.
You say one word to anyone and I will kill you. Do you understand me?
Suffering from substance abuse and addiction issues for years, Farley died at age 33 of an overdose of cocaine and opioids in December 1997, according to the Cook County Medical Examiner's Office. The death devastated Spade, so much so that he was a notable no-show at Farley's memorial service. Spade said in a Reddit Ask Me Anything session in 2014, "I think people misunderstood me not going to that funeral. It was just too emotional, and I wouldn't be able to handle it." Spade said on Reddit that he still thinks about Farley all the time, something likely made more difficult by online commenters. In 2019, Spade told the New York Times that he still receives nasty messages from people who loved Farley but hated him, admitting, "The first couple of times it was rough, but now it's the standard burn. I wish I didn't get that 3 times a week." David Spade's older brother Andy married Kate Spade in 1994, just 1 year after the former Mademoiselle accessories editor decided to make handbags instead of write about them. She opened her first Kate Spade store in 1996, on the way to creating the large and lucrative Kate Spade & Company, one of the best-known fashion brands in the world. The designer also endured mental health issues. Andy Spade told People, "Kate suffered from depression and anxiety for many years." He added that she proactively met with doctors to gain some control. On June 5, 2018, Kate Spade was found dead by her housekeeper in her New York City apartment. The cause of death was suicide by hanging, according to a medical examiner's office. Less than 2 months later, David Spade reflected on his sister-in-law's life and death on Good Morning America.
She was such a beautiful, lovely, great spirit that obviously will be missed. I'll start bawling, but thank you for saying something.
No.
Days later, he donated $100,000 to the National Alliance on Mental Health in Kate Spade's honor. Beyond his work as an actor, sketch performer, and TV show host, David Spade is an actively touring stand-up comedian. In the 2010s, he hired Los Angeles-based confessional alt comic Brody Stevens to be his opening act and collaborator. Stevens, a regular on many LA comedy shows, TV series, and podcasts, was open about his struggles with depression and anxiety, particularly on his Comedy Central reality series, Brody Stevens' Enjoy It. According to The Hollywood Reporter, Stevens was discovered dead in February 2019. Spade tweeted at the time, "Comedy lost a good man today. Brody Stevens. R.I.P." A death certificate acquired by TMZ reported that Stevens died of suicide by hanging, and that his bipolar disorder and depression diagnoses were factors in his death. The loss of Stevens came less than a year after the death of David Spade's sister-in-law, Kate Spade. He told the New York Times that such extended periods of grief had forced him to develop new coping techniques. Spade told the outlet, "I don't want to say I'm immune to it, but there's a way you just have to learn to shut off the tear valve. It's just too brutal." In the early 2000s, David Spade hired friend David "Skippy" Malloy to work as his personal assistant. Both their professional and personal relationships ended abruptly and violently at about 5 a.m. one morning in November 2000. As related on Good Talk with Anthony Jeselnik, Spade awoke in his bedroom with the feeling that someone was watching him. And sure enough, Malloy was standing ominously in the doorway. Malloy claimed that the home's security alarm had gone off and that he'd been contacted by the alarm company. As Spade woke up, he realized he hadn't even turned the alarm on. Spade recalled, and he punched me, and I hit the bed, and he hit me with a stun gun. We fought again. He threw me down. I got my shirt ripped off. I got out again. Out front, we fought in the driveway. Finally, Spade, covered in blood and feeling the effects of the stun gun, escaped Malloy, locked himself in his house, hid under his bed, and found his shotgun, which he believes Malloy intended to use to kill him. Police arrested Malloy, whom Spade said was, quote, obviously mentally troubled right now, while Malloy's lawyer said that his client's actions were the result of a, quote, psychotic state due to cocaine. Malloy pleaded guilty to assault and received a sentence that included 5 years probation, 480 community service hours, and a restraining order to stay away from Spade. David Spade has been one half of many high-profile double celebrity relationships, perhaps most famously with Lara Flynn Boyle. The comedian and the actor dated in the late 1990s when both were at their career peaks. He was coming off the hit sitcom Just Shoot Me, while Boyle was starring in the Emmy-winning legal drama The Practice. The seemingly stable relationship quickly crumbled, however, when Lara Flynn Boyle left Spade for Hollywood legend Jack Nicholson, who unabashedly made a play for her. Spade told Details, Nicholson asked Lara Flynn Boyle out in front of me. She got mad because I didn't stick up for her. I said, I've been in this town long enough to know when I'm outranked. You're either gonna go out with him or you're not. Boyle at first denied any romantic interest in Nicholson, but apparently started seeing him while still involved with Spade, according to the Daily Mail. She got into a car accident in Los Angeles and escaped via the sunroof. Allegedly heard screaming, I have a boyfriend, I can't be here. But reporters got wind of the incident, and when the National Enquirer called Spade for a comment on his girlfriend's crash, he learned she'd been seeing Nicholson behind his back. In June of 2017, David Spade experienced the dual indignities of home invasion and theft when a team of burglars somehow disabled his security and alarm system and entered his Beverly Hills home. The burglars made off with about $80,000 worth of cash and expensive jewelry because they walked away with a safe containing those items, along with the sentimentally priceless wedding ring that belonged to Spade's mother. Spade said on The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon,
When I came home one day, my blinds were up, and it's not normal.
Spade told the host that found that to be, quote, curious. He added that he went to bed that night feeling uneasy, so he decided to grab a shotgun, which he kept by the safe. There was just one problem. The safe was no longer there. Thinking members of his bathroom remodeling crew may be to blame, Spade called the police the next day, who wondered if Spade had any friends who were down on their luck or low on cash. Spade later told TMZ that police may have located some suspects after all. David Spade has never married, but he's been linked with a long list of conventionally attractive and widely desired famous women. He has a daughter with Playboy model Jillian Grace. In the 90s and beyond, per some unconfirmed reports, he romanced the likes of Christy Swanson, Heather Locklear, and Pamela Anderson, among others. Well, Heather Locklear is one who can definitely be confirmed. Spade was a little bit down on himself when talking to Andy Cohen on SiriusXM, saying he was, quote, sure she took some grief for going out with him. Spade is well aware of the media and public's bafflement over his ability to attract A-list women, telling Page Six, I get it, but I think it was more played up because I didn't seem like this guy that goes out with girls at all. So if there's one or two pretty ones, it's so astounding. And everyone freaks out and you write an article. Oh, a pretty girl went out with this guy. If you or anyone you know is struggling with addiction issues, help is available. Visit the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration website or contact SAMHSA's national helpline at 1-800-662-HELP 4357.